Jamunatira vanachari Yamunatira vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Shri Radha Madhava ki jai Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai. So we'll give a lecture in English. So wir brauchen Übersetzung. Du verstehst Englisch, oder? So für Kishore-Kund brauchen wir Übersetzung. Wer kann übersetzen? Ja? Es sind so viele Englischsprachige. Du verstehst Englisch? Ja? Okay, gut. Tut mir leid. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasa Tato Jayamudhirayet. Before reading the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, one should pay respectful obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the highest human being, Narayana Rishis, to the goddess Sarasvati, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the compiler of this holy scripture. So we're reading from chapter, what is it? Canto 4, chapter 8. Dhruva Maharaja leaves home, and text 70. Text 70. Please repeat. Maitreya Uvacha Iti Devarshinam Proktam Vishrutyam Jagati Patihi Raja Lakshmin Anadritya Putram Evan Chintayat Evan Vachintayat Maitreya Vacha Iti Devarshina Proktam Vishrutya Jagati Patihi Raja Lakshmin Anadritya Putram Evan Vachintayat Maitreya Vacha Iti Devarshina Proktam Vishrutya Jagati Patihi Rajalakshmim anadritya Putram evam vachintayat Maitreya vacha Iti devarshina proktam Vishrutya jagati patihi Rajalakshmim anadritya Putram evam vachintayat. Please read. Maitreya vacha Iti devarshina proktam Ladies, you can do Prabhu. Please. Maitreya vacha Ladies. Maitreya vacha Please repeat word by word. Maitreya vacha. The great sage Maitreya said, Iti, thus, Devarshina, by the great sage Narada, Proktam, spoken, Vishrutya, hearing, Jagati Patihi, the king, Rajalakshmim, the opulence of his big kingdom, Anadritya, without taking care of, Putram, his son, Eva, certainly, Anvachintayat, began to think of him. Translation. The great Maitreya continued. The king, Uttanapada, after being advised by Narada Muni, practically gave up all duties in relation with his kingdom, which was very vast and wide, opulent like the goddess of fortune, and he simply began to think of his son Dhruva. No purport, so we'll read 71 as well. Tatra bhikshikta prayatas tam uposhya vibhavarim samahita paryacharat rishyada adeshena purusham. Elsewhere, Dhruva Maharaj, having arrived at Madhuvan, took his bath in the river Yamuna, unobserved fasting in the night, with great care and attention. After that, as advised by the great sage Narada, he engaged himself in worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. The significance of this particular verse is that Dhruva Maharaj acted exactly according to the advice of his spiritual master, the great sage Narada. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur also advises that if we want to be successful in our attempt to go back to Godhead, we must very seriously act according to the instruction of the spiritual master. That is the way of perfection. There need be no anxiety over attaining perfection, because if one follows the instruction given by the spiritual master, he is sure to attain perfection. Our only concern should be how to execute the order of the spiritual master. A spiritual master is expert in giving special instructions to each of his disciples. And if the disciple executes the order of the spiritual master, that is the way of his perfection. Om Ajnanati Mirandasya Gnanam Gna Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swaparantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitamtam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Namo Prabhupada Priyarasaya Jagannatha Yatra Nandamurtaye Bhakta Sukhaya Krishnot-kirtanena Nirsinghena Rakshataya Namaha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyadi Shatarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhaktashaktikam Sankarshana Karanatoyashai Garbhodashai Chapayobdishai Sheshascha Kalasa Nityanandakya Ramasharanam Namastu Namo Mahavaranjaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Goratuse Namaha Namaste Halagraha Namaste Mushalayuda Namaste Revatikanta Namaste Bhaktavatsala Namaste Dharanidhara Namaste Balanam Shishta Pralambare Namaste Stvehimam Krishna Purvaja He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopibakanta Radhakanta Namostate Jayatam Surato Pangor Mamamanda Matergati Matsarvasva Padambojo Radhamadana Mohano Divyadvrindaranya Kalpadrumada Śrīmad-Ratangara Simhasanasto Śrīmad-Radha Srila Govinda Deva Uprishtalivisa Vimana Usmarami Śrīmanra Saraswaram Vivam Siva Tatatastitaha Karsham Veno Svanayr Gopi Gopinata Shriyastunaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So again the verse or verses. Maitreyo vacha iti devarshina proktam vishrutya jagati patihi raja lakshmi anadritya putram evan vachintayat. The great Maitreya continued, the king Uttanupada, after being advised by Narada Muni, practically gave up all duties in relation with his kingdom, which was very vast and wide, opulent like the goddess of fortune, and he simply began to think of his son Dhruva. Trata bhikshitam yatas tam upokshya vibhavarim samahita paryacharat rishya deshena purusham. Elsewhere, Dhruva Maharaj, having arrived at Madhuvan, took his bath in the river Yamuna and observed fasting in the night with great care and attention. After that, as advised by the great sage Narada, he engaged himself in worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is a very nice section of the Bhagavatam, and we are very glad that we can hear this story. The story of Dhruva Maharaj and the story of Prahlad Maharaj are said to be the two favorite stories in the Bhagavatam for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He very often requested his secretary, Swarup Damodar, no? Okay, in Gadadhar Pandit still. In Navadvip still, with Gadadhar Pandit. But he loved this to, yeah, you're right, because in Jagannath Puri the topics were much more intimate. But these were two of the most favorite stories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Dhruva Maharaj is so astonishing because at such a young age, he had such a strong determination and was able to complete technically a path that can take many, many, many years within just 6 months. This is supposed to have taken place in the Satya Yuga. So in the Satya Yuga, people had a lot of time actually at their disposal to gain perfection in meditation or true meditation. But Dhruva had such a genuine and also, you could say, naive and strong determination that within half a year he attained perfection. So one very, or let's do a little bit short recap. Basically in the previous verses, Narada Muni informed his father Uttarapada about the whereabouts, of Dhruva Maharaj, and the father now is repenting, realizing his big mistake, that he became so weak, controlled by lusty desires and by his second wife, that he didn't take proper care, of his son, neglected his son in such a way that now he was in the forest. And he was very afraid, of course, that he might be, in danger, hungry, But Narada Muni assures him, don't worry, I have giving him good instruction, and also he will be protected by the Supreme Lord. So you have now nothing you can do to help him or support him. And this puts Maharaj Uttanapada in a very depressed position. So he is neglecting now all his duties as a king, and is only thinking about his son. And one very interesting detail that Srila Prabhupada also points out is that our Dhruva Maharaj is now in Vrindavan. Sometimes we forget, but Dhruva Maharaj was in Vrindavan, in Madhuvan, and here also this specific verse, the last verse we read, it said that he arrived at Madhuvan and then he took a bath in the river Yamuna. And Srila Prabhupada talks about it. I don't know if it's coming or if he talked about it before, but he talks about how it's of course a very auspicious location to practice meditation or sadhana or worshipping the Lord, Vrindavan. Anybody who has been to Vrindavan, Braj Mandal, will have this experience that spiritual practices like chanting the holy name especially become so sweet and so natural and so easy. Even externally, Vrindavan, many years ago, the first time I was in Vrindavan, it was still the parikrama marg was sand. And then 3 years later, the parikrama marg was with trucks and concrete. And then 3 years later, the parikrama marg was full of pan advertisement with different Bollywood actors. And then 3 years later, everybody was running with cell phones along the parikrama marg. So this was the development. But in any case, the atmosphere of Vrindavan still remains untouched. Even superficially, it might be, in the past it was very, very say isolated place. I think in Vrindavan there was maybe 2 telephones. Singari Bhagwan Ki Jai. In the time of Srila Prabhupada, there was barely any telephone lines in Vrindavan. Very difficult to get in touch with the world outside. Very simple, no amenities, nothing. Now you can buy everything in Vrindavan. There's all kinds of shops and all kinds of restaurants and hotels. but also, of course, a lot of pollution and so much noise and congestion. And so externally there might be something like that, superficially, but Vrindavan is, of course, an eternal place. In Satya Yuga already, Dhruva Maharaj had the advantage to go there when it was completely pristine. And we understand that the Holy Dham is actually considered to be a place that is not destroyed during the partial dissolutions of this world. So in this world, you could say the Dham is like an embassy of a spiritual realm. That's the meaning of a Dham. So it's very similar like an embassy. If you, like some years ago, 30 years ago now already, Germany was divided into the socialist Germany and capitalist Germany, East Germany, West Germany. And East Germans were trying to escape as in different attempts, trying to swim over the river, or some were taking a balloon and flying over the border, and many of course died also in the process. But one trick was also to jump into the American embassy. So they would, there was a whole industry creating, American uniforms, and then they would disguise as American uniform guy. And then there were two guards, East German guards and then the American guards guarding so the first guards were the problem. The second guards will take you in, And once you are in the embassy, then they could turn around and do like this to the East German guards, Now they couldn't do anything anymore. They were now in the territory of America. So in a similar way, when we are in Vrindavan, not that you should do like this, but technically you can do like this to Maya, like now I'm in a spiritual, realm. I'm protected. But of course, even in Vrindavan, we know that, the material mind, if it's not, it has some sincerity, it actually is advised to only go for 3 days to Vrindavan. Especially Vrindavan, because we can easily commit many offenses. If you don't have the right attitude, if you can't control your material urges, of the body, better to only go 3 days, not commit any offenses, and then come again later, little by little, because you can also commit offenses, of course. But if you take shelter in Vrindavan, spiritual progress can be very, very fast. It's very, very fast. And there are many dhams like this. Like I once visited a dham very high in the Himalayas, Badrinath. It's very high in the Himalayas, beyond Rishikesh and beyond Devprayag. There's different prayags, Rudraprayag, Vishnuprayag, and then there is what is it called? Jyotishmat, I think. Very nice temple of Nrsimhadev is also there, and then you can go to Badrinath. Very high, it's almost 4,000 meters high up in the mountains. And I went there, and there's this hot water ponds, and then the priests were telling me, you take bath on this pond, you will, remove so many sins, and every mantra you chant here will have 1,000-fold. So that's the effect of a dham. There are many dhams, and of course among all the different dhams, the dham of Sri Krishna in Vrindavan is considered to be supreme. So you could say Vrindavan in India is the embassy of Goloka Vrindavan in the spiritual reality. So it's spiritually there is actually a direct connection. There are of course all the different Shakti Peeths of Durga that are connected with Durga, or many places of Shiva also, and 108 temples of Vishnu, which are considered to be, direct representations of Vaikuntha or Kailash. But Vrindavan is directly Goloka. There's a direct connection, and if you have the right eyes and the right consciousness and the qualification, walking in Vrindavan, you will be able to perceive that connection. Then all this external, buildings and cars, whatever might be going on, will go away, and you will be able to perceive what's actually happening there. And within Vrindavan, there's still one area that has been conserved, is the only area that's been like protected, and it's called Seva Kunj. You might have heard, very mystical place in the center of Vrindavan, right near Radha Damodar temple, Jiva Goswami's temple. And this place is considered to be the place where the rasa dance took place, you know, and therefore is conserved, specially conserved. And there are many stories, mysterious stories surrounding this place. For example, one is that every night all animals leave that place. You know, at a certain hour, the sandhya, when the sun is going down, all the animals leave, and also the gates are closed, and you're not supposed to go inside during the night, because the lila is taking place. And if you're not qualified, you won't be able to digest it. You know? And actually, I know one lady, one Mataji, she went there, you know, at the wrong time, or she was hiding inside there, and she went crazy, you know, because our material senses might not be ready, you know, to digest, you know, what you will perceive, you know. But the point is that in all the different lila stans, the lilas are actually taking place, and the more we become purified and qualified, we can perceive them directly there. But there is another explanation as well, that actually the spiritual world, or the spiritual reality, being beyond time and space, is of course not dependent on a specific location. You know? This location is very conducive, but if you don't have the right attitude, you might actually miss the point. And this is a warning given in the Shastra. Prabhupada cites very often, and it says, if you go to a holy place of pilgrimage only to take a bath, you know, to leave your sins behind, and then go home to commit again sins, then it's like the, you know, bath of an ass, you know. No real benefit, you know, no real benefit. The real benefit is only there if you take association of the people who are there. You know? So that's the ultimate reason why it really becomes, or is, accessible as well. The spiritual reality is accessible because in holy places great personalities assemble, and therefore one way to describe a devotee is Bhakti Tirtha. You know, so Bhakti Tirtha means that Bhakti Tirtha is somebody who, wherever he's going, it's a tirtha, you know. So tirtha is also another word, you know, to describe, you know, a spiritual location which is connected to the spiritual reality. And somebody who is a Bhakti Tirtha, or who has pure love of God, prema, wherever he goes and he sits down, that place becomes a place of pilgrimage. You know, so that's the qualification of a pure devotee, actually. And for us, of course, Srila Prabhupada is our, you know, Bhakti Tirtha, who traveled all over the world, and wherever he sat down and taught, those places, you know, are now places of pilgrimage, you know, and still people visit them. In New York, there is a tree in the Lower East Side, in the Thompson Square Park, and under that tree, that's where ISKCON began. You know? Srila Prabhupada just sat down under the tree and started chanting Hare Krishna, and then more and more people, you know, joined him, and it became ultimately, you know, an international, worldwide society, Krishna consciousness everywhere. And that tree is now a place of pilgrimage. You know, the tree is now much bigger, and there is even an official plaque. You know, it's called the Hare Krishna tree, and a few devotees have had very mystical experiences just going to that tree. You know, I think Rambakana Maharaj always talks about. I don't think if I can put it together completely, but he was saying that he went to that tree and he was embracing that tree. You know, and he was asking, what was he asking? Empowerment to preach. And then he turned around and this small boy came and said, I want to be like you. So it's a special location. And like that, you know, throughout the world, you know, many temples, original temples still have, you know, the rooms where Srila Prabhupada was, like in England we have the Bhaktivedanta Manor, and Srila Prabhupada visited the temple, many times. And so those places are then places of pilgrimage. You can go there, and because anything that is, it's called prasadi, anything that is related to a devotee is actually a form of, it's blessed, And that's why such pure devotees, when they pass away, their bodies are not burned. Traditionally in Vedic culture, when you pass away, we burn the body. And the reason why the body is burned is to purify and annihilate any attachments to the previous embodiment. Because the bond to the body identification is very strong. We look at the mirror every day while we're brushing our teeth, and we look at ourselves and we think that's me, Here, passport photo, that's the proof, that's me, But actually, that's not really us, This is only a body that we are carrying currently. If we understand that the Atma is eternal and reincarnation is the natural transition of energy from one body to the next, the Atma is just changing according to its consciousness a different habitat, it can enjoy or experience the world, then we understand that actually this current incarnation is temporary, is not really us. And I missed the point I was trying to make. Can somebody help me? Huh? Yes, the body, that's why we burn the body. Thank you. So we burn the body because that's not really you. So when you go to the next body, or basically the description is like that that's why cemeteries are considered to be haunted places, because the body is still there, and you're like, you might still be attached to that body. It's like, oh, look at these nice bones I had, Now I don't have any bones to walk, Because there is a difference between the subtle body and gross body. Technically, there's 3 elements that we need to talk about. There is the Atma, the soul, which is eternal. There is the subtle body, which is made out of mind, manas, buddhi, ahankara, intelligence, and ego, which is lasting as long as we live within matter. So for long time. The subtle body lasts for a very long time and only is changing form according to the experiences we have. So you can imagine the Akash Chitta, or the subtle body, is like a ball of plastiline. You know plastiline or clay, and all the impressions, that you experience, everything, eating sugar for the first time or seeing something, for the first time, all of this leaves a strong impression. So all the impressions that we have, they form our consciousness. And according to the shape of this consciousness, there is a fitting body that fits. Just like when you go to a store, or you order online, you measure yourself, and you see if it's fitting, good. If it's not fitting, you put it away. In a similar way, the gross body, which only lasts 100 years, the gross body lasts 100 years. The subtle body lasts for the entire duration of samsara. And the Atma, the soul, is eternal. So somebody who is, on a very external mode of consciousness through the false ego, the false ego's nature is to point outwards, Bahiranga Shakti, the external energy, becomes our hope of satisfaction. We hope through the senses we can become satisfied externally. The more we stimulate the senses, satisfy our sensory needs, but also our emotional needs, we hope that we will be happy. But that's a focus towards external reality, which is very transitory, only 100 years. And it's 100 years depending also, of course, what kind of body you have. Relatively, time is relative. So 100 years for a tree might be for us, thousands of years. And for a dog, 1 year in our life is already 7 years. So time is relative, but the gross body lasts 100 years, depending in which time situation you are in. So therefore we burn the body, and then we are more easily ready to continue in our journey, samsara. But great personalities who are not identified with the body, who have full knowledge of their true identity as Atma, as the self, they don't even identify with the subtle body. They do not require to be detached of the body. They are already detached of the body while they are embodied. They are fully cognizant of their true nature. So it's the way around. Everything that they touch, including their body, and everything that's, any place that they go, any items that they use, they become imbued with spiritual energy. And that's why such advanced personalities are put into samadhi. So there are, tombs, but the tombs are only for qualified people. Don't make a tomb if you're not qualified. Could be the lesson out of it. And such a samadhi is worshipped, like a temple basically. And you can gain great benefit by visiting such samadhi, samadhis. And this has always become a culture in Sufis. They also copy this tradition and they bury their holy person also. In the West also they have the similar tradition, but they tend to put also everybody, in this catacombs under the churches, so many skeletons and kings and all kinds of people are there. But a samadhi is different. Samadhi, the clear understanding, it's very rare, and somebody who is only for somebody who's really spiritually advanced. So the verse that we're reading today is basically saying that somebody who has this great level of spiritual understanding, he is a guru whose guidance can guide you directly back to Godhead. So let me see where the sentences I was looking for. There need to be no anxiety over attaining perfection, because if one follows the instructions given by the spiritual master, he is sure to attain perfection. So that's the point I was trying to make, that if you find such a qualified person, then one can follow without anxiety. One should give up anxiety and develop trust and faith. Because in one sense, a doubting mind is can protect you from falling into a wrong situation or making a big mistake. But a doubting mind is only so long good as long as the doubts have been clarified. Or you could also say the fulfillment of a doubt is to clarify it. There's no use in always doubting. So sometimes we have this tendency that we also get attached to doubting. We always want to doubt, just in case. But at one point, we should give up this doubt. At least with one person, we should have full trust. And we should, Srila Prabhupada actually encouraged that actually all the relationships that we have amongst each other in this society should be based in trust and love. This was the Prabhupada's idea. Of course, there might be situations where we might be disappointed that we did trust, and the people might not have been trustworthy. But it's much more inspiring and much more dynamic if we can work on trust. So I was studying this book. It's called what is it called? But basically, it's a book about the culture of success. How Culture Code or something like this. Culture Code. It's a very interesting book, and it examines all kinds of different groups. And which groups become successful and which groups become not successful. Very interesting book. And the main lesson is that if people have trust in each other and also they feel trusted themselves, if you feel people trust me, then naturally you become inspired to do much more. If you have the feeling that this is forbidden and this is forbidden and you're not qualified and you're not qualified, then everybody's in fear and nothing happens. So Srila Prabhupada exemplified this very well. Like very young disciples. Very, many of them. Some of them were very qualified. Knew Sanskrit. Some of them were professors, but some of them were very, very young. First of all, and also many of them had been involved with drugs. And had very, you could say, wild backgrounds. Like Srila Prabhupada went to this commune near San Francisco. I forgot the name. You remember the name? Morning Star Commune. In Morning Star Commune, everybody was naked. And Srila Prabhupada went to preach there. And two great people joined, Tamal Krishna Maharaj and Vishnujan Maharaj, They put a dress and then they joined. And they became great personalities, and because Prabhupada trusted them, I think Jayadvaita Maharaj also was saying, or was it Hayagriva? But in the very, very, very beginning, when Prabhupada asked, I think it was Jayadvaita Maharaj, please publish this magazine, and it's like, I've never done this before, No, you can do it, So he trusted him, he empowered him, and he gave him all the freedom. You do it, and the magazines became more and more professional. So it is very powerful if we have the feeling that we are trusted. So love and trust, Prabhupada emphasized. Of course, for the spiritual master, we should have Guru Nishta, which is you're focused on your guru. But actually, Prabhupada also very often talks about having this very strong love for the spiritual master, and dedicating your life even to one instruction only. You take one instruction of the guru, you make it to your life. It's such a powerful, such powerful results can come from that. I think I'll stop here. Maybe there are some questions or comments or something to be added. Balaram.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. I was wondering about this point of burning the body and not burning the body, burying it. So mostly in Abrahamic religions, the body is obviously... No, I think in Christianity, mostly it's being also burned, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. But in Islam, for example, at least as far as I know, and Judaism, I'm not sure, the body is buried. So, I mean, I don't want to get too philosophical now, but obviously God is speaking to us through all these different religions. So there is some genuinity or truth in every religion. So I wonder, why would God tell the Muslims or whoever other religions that don't burn the body, keep the attachment, and and then and bury it?
I don't think there is. I mean, at least I never read the Bible from cover to cover, so I'm not sure if there is one command specifically advising to bury.
So my question would be: is it a culture or religion, you think?
This I'm not sure. It might be so or so. Yeah.
Indicated already is that religiously a samadhi is meant for a very exalted person. But this communistic principle is there that everyone wants to be a very exalted person, and then maybe they have that feeling that we have to honor everyone because it's like how can you say that he's better than the other, and then they want to make a samadhi for everyone.
Maybe that's part of it, but I mean, I don't know in Islam exactly, but I know in Christianity only that there is an idea that you will resurrect, So there's the day of resurrection, and that's why you should keep the body, and it's considered to be actually a great sin to disturb the remains of somebody. But of course, that's you could say, in conflict with the idea of reincarnation, because that's not your true self, That's not you, It's somebody else. It's just your body. You've probably been reincarnated a few times afterwards, so you have a few coffins to take care of, Which one will be resurrected? Because the idea is that but I want to address the point directly you made, that there's some truth in each religion. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself expressed direct criticism to Islam and Christianity, saying that there is truth in it, but there is not a red thread. There's no siddhanta. So there's no red thread. There might be all kinds of truths in there, but because there's not bound in a proper, you could say, common line, or a red thread, therefore not everything in there you have to take at face value. So because the idea is that you will resurrect, the day of redemption, then everybody will resurrect, and then you will meet all your family members again, in heaven. But of course that's if you only have one life, Otherwise, so it's a little bit in conflict with the idea that we are eternal living entities, and we had so many, like in the story of Chitraketu Maharaj, whose son is revived, and he's so happy and embraces him, and he's like, "Oh, who are you?" It's like, "I'm your father." He's like, "Which father? In which life?" And that's very sobering for Chitraketu, because he was so attached to his son, suffering so much. But then he realized, yeah, well, actually it's true, this is, it's an eternal soul, and only in this life it happened to be my son in this specific body, but the soul is beyond that. But on the other hand, because this sounds a little bit impersonal also, Srila Prabhupada used to say that in ISKCON we have a family also. So when we go to the spiritual world, we meet our spiritual family, we meet again. But probably not in the same form that we are right now here. Still the person you can recognize. And there's a very interesting movie made like that from very long time ago in the 90s by Robbie Williams about reincarnation. And it's very well made. Many things from the Bhagavad Gita are there, and also from Buddhism. And in this movie they all die, and they meet again in this, like, I don't know, like paradise, some kind of like, afterlife. But they all look different, And so the father, he's meeting his daughter again, but now she's looking like a Chinese lady, and he's completely confused, It's like, why you look like this, And she tells him, well, when we were on holiday, I saw how you gave so much attention to this stewardess, Chinese stewardess, more than to my mother, So I became so obsessed with this idea that this is something better, So now I'm in this body, Now I've become Chinese. And that's how it works, Because if you understand the idea of reincarnation, it all kind of bodily conflicts become superfluous, or how you say, überflüssig? Superfluous, überflüssig means like not necessary, because there's a very good book you should read, Krishna, Israel and the Druze. I don't know if we have it somewhere here, but it's a very good book. I recommend it, and it's about dear Govinda Prabhu preaching in the Middle East, in Palestine, in Israel, and Lebanon, this entire area. He's traveling and preaching, and there's a few very clear hints about people, being reincarnated in the other side. So Jews are always meditating about the Palestinians, how bad they are, and the Palestinians are meditating, how bad, so maybe all of those who are dying now in Gaza might be born again in Tel Aviv, and it's crazy, And there was I forgot the details, but there were some really like some people who had reminiscences, or memories, of their previous life on the other side of the conflict, So when we understand reincarnation, then this, petty, bodily conflicts become resolved, because, so many peace agreements have been there, and there is no peace, and the Jews are not going, because they have been there since thousands of years, Of course, they went and they came again in all kinds of different colors, but still the Jews have been there, they want to stay there. And the Arabs are also there and also want to stay there, You will never solve this conflict, by making a new wall or more borders or more security or, or two-state solution or all kinds of different ideas. The solution has to be spiritual. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Any other questions? Yes, Prabhu. You can take the mic.
My English is not so well, but I will try speak simple.
No problem.
Question is about your point about Guru.
Yes.
How we can develop more deeply relationship towards Guru, or our attitude be more loving towards Guru, especially when mind is full of doubtful, especially from Sankirtan. We listened hearing about only Christians, only Jesus, you are from demons. And I was accustomed in this mood. I was from Christian family. Sometimes my mind is, but after that my Guru, I can think my Guru. It's after that. This is the point. How can I develop more deeply relationship against this Christians talks, or be more fixed attitude, Vaishnava's attitude, and that Krishna is God, real God, and Guru is real Guru, and like that.
Yeah, very, very interesting question. I think because the spiritual master is ultimately it is Guru Tattva. There's Guru, the person who's might be sitting in front of you and teaching, or giving you instructions. But actually, we have to understand deeply that Guru is Tattva. So Guru Tattva means that ultimately Guru is one, and he's manifesting in all kinds of different forms. Ultimately, of course, Krishna is Guru, and the Guru is also within the heart. So Chaitya Guru, Chaitya Guru is the Guru within the heart, and technically it's like this: that the more sincerity you master, or you become more sincere, then the Chaitya Guru in your heart, he will manifest as the Guru externally. That's, you could say, the technical understanding. You really want to take shelter of the Guru in the heart. Krishna is there, God is in your heart, and the more you focus on, developing this sincerity, since you could say a qualified person will be on the outside. Because we can also choose a Guru based on external principles. Like, I remember the first time I met my Guru, I was thinking, he also doesn't like carrot halava. That's good. Maybe he's my Guru, But that's not the right, everybody has this Guru, so maybe I should also take this Guru, So the Guru, we should really pray very intensely, it says. The more we pray intensely, and this is also in the 4th canto of the Bhagavatam, at the end of this canto, there is the story of Puranjana and Puranjani. So this is an allegoric story of Puranjani, who is Puranjana. Puranjana means the body who's embodied, and he's very attached to his body, that protecting his body. It's an analogy of the city of the 9 gates, because this body has 9 openings, and he's trying to protect the city and enjoy this world, enjoy this body, and then he's born again as in a female body as Puranjani, and because he was following some, you could say, duties, he has the luck to be married to a great personality. So her husband becomes her Guru, basically. And at one point, the husband passes away prematurely, and she's left behind in great sorrow. And she starts crying naturally, and she's crying and crying and crying in separation while the body of her husband is burning. And at that point, an old Brahmana comes, an old cute Brahmana, and he says, "Hey, Puranjani, you calling me?" And she's like, "Who are you? Do I know you?" It's like, "Yes." I've been, he said, this is a very nice analogy. The Brahmana says, we are like 2 swans swimming in the Manasa Sarovar, in the the ocean or lake of the mind, you know. But usually you didn't realize that I was always there with you, you know. Most of the time you didn't pay attention, but now finally you full earnestly called me. Now I'm here, you know. I'm the super soul, you know. So it goes the way around also, you know. Sometimes you only realize, you know, how valuable the guru was when he's gone, you know? And then you can use this separation to really cry. You know? You cry, and then the guru, because the point that Prabhupada is making there is that, of course, we are not qualified to talk directly to God or to hear God. You know? On the other hand, we have this conscience, you know. Conscience is called in English. So conscience is when you know, nobody's telling you, but you have this feeling, I should not do this, you know. This is really bad, you know. You know. And if you are, you know, stubborn, or if you are, you know, very driven by your desires, you neglect it, you know, you override it. And the more you override it, the more insensitive you become to this natural instinct, you know. That's considered to be the Chaitya Guru. The Chaitya Guru is there, informing you and giving you intuitively a direction what you should do, you know. But the more we neglect it, the more we override it, it becomes more quiet and in the background, you know. And the more we cry sincerely, you know, for help, or in separation, you know, we can gain access again, you know. Also, of course, a big part of it is, you know, pure habits. If we are pure in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, if we purify those four, you know, bodily, animalistic, you know, urges, or you could say natural needs, then also we can communicate. You know, we can appreciate, we can perceive the Chaitya Guru. So it goes both ways. You know, if you cry, you know, if you're very sincerely praying, the Chaitya Guru will manifest as your Guru externally. And in whatever form the Guru externally was manifest, if you cry in separation for him, then again you can connect to the Super Soul as well. But it's important that we understand that Guru Tattva is everything. Jesus Christ is also Guru Tattva. Prabhupada said it. You know? Prabhupada said, Jesus is our Guru. You know, some fanatical Hindus will not like it, you know. But Prabhupada said it, you know, Jesus is our Guru, because Jesus Christ was a great sadhu, you know. He was a great sadhu, you know, all these characteristics, all the ways, the way he talked, the way he preached, you know, he was certainly a great sadhu, a great personality. And of course there is also, that's the part that Christians won't like, but Jesus probably was in India, you know. There's many descriptions of Jesus, you know. There's a very good documentary from Phoenix in Germany. It's a channel, Phoenix, and they made very elaborate documentary, you know, different sources in Tibet, in Jagannath Puri, in Varanasi, you know, different places where there are stories about him. So, yes, it's all connected. Hare Krishna. What? The fish and the wine. This is a mistranslation. You know. Prabhu can give many lectures about it. There's because there's a bread that is shaped like a fish, and that's why, you know, it's so that's when it's, because what will you do in the middle of the desert with fish? You know, or just, you know, you will just get a food poisoning. But bread is nice, you know. and about the wine, I forgot the details, but Prabhu explained it's there's this date juice, you know, there was very common, you know, it was like many sadhus will only survive eating only dates, you know, yeah, and date syrup, you know, and yeah, so, you know, it's basically like gur with braj roti, you know, same. It's the same. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Grantharaj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai.